So you are still listening to the We Are West Ham podcast with me, Will Pugh, Tom Edwards and James Jones. I'm delighted to say that joining us this week for our opposition view is the We Are West Ham debutante. It's Liam from Albion Analytics. Liam, it's wonderful to have you joining us, mate. We were talking about Everton, about being our bogey team last week. We did lose to them, but the Seagulls are an enormous bogey team for West Ham United, yet to beat them in the Premier League. I don't know what it is. I mean, you haven't got Glenn Murray anymore. So we thought, once he's gone, we might actually be all right. But it hasn't proved to be the case. What is it that you can tell us about Brighton? Again, you're obviously from an analytical standpoint. I don't care what it is, whether it's analytics or just raw passion. But what is it that's proving such a hoodoo for West Ham?
You know, if I had the answer, I think I could make a lot of money off West Ham, to be honest. I don't know. I think we owe you guys from that championship game years ago now from the thumping. So whether that sort of plays into any of the players' minds, I think perhaps Solly March and Lewis Dunk will be the only ones remaining from that. But I think especially sort of like under Potter now that he's shown a lot of tactical flexibility and will look to sort of set up with different systems to thwart different teams and different opposition. I think, similar to sort of back under Houghton, who played a real pragmatic style, which worked sort of really effectively. I think we kept clean sheets in quite a few games against you guys, I think. And managed to obviously prevent you scoring too many. I think from sort of memory that you guys have been good going forwards, but have perhaps lacked a bit of sort of defensive solidity at times and have shifted a few goals. Obviously don't have all the numbers completely to hand, but that's sort of more from memory. I think if we can sort of limit your goals at one end, that it shouldn't be too hard to get some ourselves.
Liam, 1 win in 6, a 2-0 victory against Leeds is your only win in the last 6 games, 16th in the league. What have you made of your season? Is it one of those disappointing ones? You've obviously escaped relegation because you're fortunate there's at least 3 teams. At the moment, there's 4 teams who are worse than you in the league. But what have you made of the season on the whole?
It's a difficult one to digest, to be honest. I mean, job is done as far as we're concerned in confirming our sort of Premier League status. I think at least from my perspective, that's always the first aim. I know we've got as a club conversations on about trying to push on and become a top 10 side. But for me, you've got to sort of walk before you can run and really try and cement that. The finishing at times has been poor. For me, that's not been our biggest problem. We've dropped, I think, the most points in the league, 23 from sort of winning positions. And for a side that are on 37 points, if you can hold on to even 1 or 2 or more of those leads, that's going to push you considerably further up the table. In fact, we did it sort of twice in the reverse fixture, led twice and fell apart twice and failed to sort of see that lead out. So for me, that's unfortunately cost us. And for all the pretty football we have played at times, so we do play some really nice stuff. In terms of the build-up play, we've not perhaps been quite as good in both boxes as we have been between them, which has been sort of our downfall at times.
Liam, where do you see Potter's future at the moment? Obviously, he's been linked with the Spurs job. He's got you guys playing some really, really good football. I think you're known as this season the Kings of XG. I mean, you mentioned there that your finishing hasn't been great, and the kind of the XG stats almost go prove that. But Graham Potter's been linked with the Spurs job. He's highly rated. Do you see him hanging around for a little bit longer, or are you a little bit worried that all the hard work that he's put in and all the hard work that Brighton's put in terms of get to the stage you're at now might be undone if a bigger club or another club come in and take him off your hands?
Yes, it's a difficult one. I think he's obviously got the skill set to go beyond, and I could quite easily see someone like him being touted for an England role at some point. I think that he sort of fits the bill in that respect. He does seem to be quite a project manager in the sense that, obviously what he did out in Sweden really sort of built quite a legacy there. I think the plan was probably to do sort of similar things at Swansea. I think I read something about him maybe not having backing from the board too much, which led him to sort of move on. But Barber said, that our CEO said that they really don't want to let him go, of course. They built quite a solid infrastructure with Dan Ashworth, former FA man. So, there seems to be good infrastructure there. So I'd hope that even if Potter maybe was to perhaps move on, that we've still got, sort of the backing roles and can really sort of build on from there.
Liam, looking ahead to this weekend's game, Dunk got a red card and so did Mope. So you'll be without both of them. And Mope's obviously got a decent record against us. How much will they hurt you? Because from our knowledge of you, Dunk is the main man, really. He's key to what you guys do at the back.
Yeah, he's absolutely huge. He's been a fantastic and the club's best player for as long as I can remember now. We're fortunate that he perhaps hasn't been picked up by a bigger club, whether that's because as he's aged a bit or clubs have just preferred to go for a younger option. We don't know, and we're perhaps quite grateful for it. So yeah, he'll be a big miss. It'll be interesting to see what Potter does, really, because we were very sort of reliant on our wing backs earlier on this season. Solly March and Tarek Lamptey, and when we had both of those injured, sort of a few months ago now, we sort of changed the system, opted for sort of a few more forward players, went for sort of Danny Welbeck, Neil Mapai, and Leandro Trossard, and had them all sort of operating in wide areas quite well. So it's going to be a new system for sort of us fans to see as well, even from a Brighton perspective, because we've had Dunk out, I think, once or twice a season for a suspension as well. It's not his first one. And with Mapai, I think he got dropped for one game sort of back in sort of November time. He's fantastic in terms of, I know his finishing isn't always as elite as some players, but he offers a hell of a lot sort of in terms of his link play, in terms of his pressing, an awful lot. And I think we notice, and probably will notice come Saturday, that when he's not on the pitch, that we really sort of lack his presence. So seeing what Potter does, I think I'd have no idea to guess it, but I'm really sort of looking forward to seeing sort of the tactical sort of challenge he's going to face as a result of that.
Yeah, looking ahead to the weekend, and we've already established that West Ham just cannot beat Brighton regardless. But a little bit more confident this season. Our away form has been been brilliant. What part of the West Ham team are you kind of most fearing coming up against, particularly as you've already alluded to with Dunk out and Maupay out? Is there a specific one or two players that you're fearing most on Saturday night?
Sure. I mean, it'd be nice for us fans to see Jesse Lingard back at the AMEX. Obviously, he was a Brighton player sort of many moons ago, obviously, albeit on a loan spell. So I think for a lot of our fans have perhaps been quite delighted to see him sort of kick on and do so well. Likewise, obviously, don't want to see him do too well on Saturday, as he's been, absolutely fantastic. And I don't think he's shown anything in terms of his ability or his attitude that he never quite had. But the consistency in that he's playing with right now, and sort of he's really, really shining. So great to see him doing so well. So I think he could be really key. I'm not sure if he was fully fit for the last game, but I don't even think he needs to necessarily be completely 100% to cause a problem.
So how do you see the game playing out, Liam, style-wise? Is it going to be, we had a really attritional game, Everton probably the most offensive team we've come up against all season, which is a surprise. You expect that sort of thing from the teams down the bottom, or Crystal Palaces and the West Broms and all that of the world. But how do you see it playing out? You mentioned Potter's tactical nous and his flexibility there. What do you expect the Brighton will be doing for the visit of West Ham? A Saturday night, 8:00 at the AMEX.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him continue what he's sort of done recently, of actually concede a bit more possession. I know he's obviously renowned for having a lot of the ball, playing some really expansive stuff. And to be fair to him, the expansivity in possession has remained for the most part. Admittedly, sort of our goal kicks have gone a bit longer recently, but especially against Leeds, you mentioned sort of our new win recently, had a lot less of the ball and has had a real solid defensive structure behind it. He's then used sort of the likes of Adam Webster, Ben White to really drive forward in possession to sort of pick holes in sort of the opposition's defensive shape. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see us again. Go with less of the ball. I know that West Ham are sort of really sort of solid defensive side under Moyes, a very good defensive manager, I think, as far as I'm concerned. So I think to try and avoid sort of suiting you guys too much stylistically, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes. As I think we had a bit more of the ball in sort of the reverse fixture, maybe got picked apart once or twice. So that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah,
fair enough. So give us a score prediction then, Liam. Come on.
Ooh, it's been a few draws, hasn't there, between us recently? So I'll go for a fun one. I'll go for a 2-2.
A 2-2. That's James Jones's score. He likes that one. Jonesy, surely you were going for better than a Desmond this time around, Jones.
Yeah, no. Despite our record against Brighton, I'm quietly confident this weekend. We have tended to bounce back after defeat this season more often than not. So I'm going to go 2-0. West Ham.
2-0 to West Ham United. Thomas Edwards, please. What are you going for?
I'm going to go a bit ambitious. 3-1. I think them missing Dunk, it gives us a chance. So fingers crossed we bounce back.
Yeah, no, I fancy that. I fancy us to definitely break our duck, and I fancy it in style as well. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 clean sweep from me and the lads. I know, well, I've been going 0-0s the past few weeks, haven't I? Because we are due one. But yeah, no, I fancy surely it's got to be this time that we beat Brighton. I've no offence to you, Leah, but that is one annoying record to have, isn't it? One annoying record to have. But look, Liam there from Albion Analytics. Thanks so much for joining us for the first time on the We Are West Ham podcast. That is a huge, huge game at the AMEX Saturday night, 8:00 kickoff. The first one of the last three. We said it last week. Everton's done now. We don't look back. We only look forward. So come on, you Irons, for that game.